Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Registered Ranching Podcast. Tucker Brown and Willie Wardle with you here today behind the mics for another great episode.
It's a great day to have a great day, Cade Rattenball.
Quote unquote, Cade Rattenball. Shout out.
I've known him for almost, year and a half? Still don't know how to say his last name.
I feel like you said it right.
I think that was right.
What'd you say?
Rattenball.
Nope, that was wrong.
Hasn't invited us to his lake house. It was this time last year we were chilling at the lake house.
Dude, we were, and that's where you had the best beef you've ever eaten.
Yeah. And what happened to that? Fake. That's all I'm saying, Kate. If you're listening to this, I'm calling you out. There's been no lake house excursions, and
now we're going to see if he listens to the pod.
Yeah, I bet you he doesn't.
That would be funny if he did call us.
That'd be sweet.
Check out this stain I got on my new Aggear shirt.
God. You must be a real cowboy.
Yeah, I got a poop stain on it. Cow poop stain.
Did you post a horse-eared Snapchat picture today?
No.
Slacking.
I should have.
Do you have your Spurs on right now?
No.
Dude, what is going on?
Dude, I changed into my tennis shoes because it's muddy out. It rained. We got rained on this morning.
There was I don't have boots or Spurs on either, lady, so you keep your eyes forward.
Neither do you.
Yeah, well,
I'm not a real rancher anymore.
They don't know who you are yet if they're not watching.
She's got her tenny runners on.
Welcome back to the pod, by the way.
Thank you.
2 gone.
It's been gone for a while.
Been gone for a while.
Lots happened.
What has happened?
You just had a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
I was up north in the mountains.
Up west. Out west. Up north.
Northwest.
I feel like it's west more.
Not really.
That's pretty far up.
It's not that far from Amarillo.
What were you doing?
I was getting on bulls, and I was that was really it. Didn't do a whole lot of ranching this time around.
No?
A lot of welding, a lot of getting fence set for the bull riding schools, but not as much ranching. I did go and change water once. It's weird. It's all irrigation up there. They don't have any natural water. It's like a desert. So they have like these irrigation streams come down from the mountains, and then they divert the water all over so they can have
like flood irrigation?
Mm-hmm. Huh. You take these little dams and dam it up so they can get the different pastures filled with grass so they can turn their cows out there.
I'll be dang.
They're still calving too.
Gross.
Well, they were. They were in May.
Yeah.
They were offset by about 2 months.
Yeah, I'd say they kind of have to, being in the mountains.
Cold.
And you have some news for us.
I do. This is, my days are numbered here in T-Rock.
It is.
For the foreseeable future, I'll return.
Yeah.
Keeping my license, it's still going to say, I still don't know what my address is. It's either 240 or 260
So you're just going to tell everyone?
County Road.
That's all you're leaving, just 260 County Road?
Yeah, Throckmorton, Texas.
Oh, you're leaving.
You can come
You're
and
leaving
visit
260.
Yeah, I'm leaving there.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Utah. Get on bulls for Josh Frost. Not
north.
I'm going to make videos for Josh Frost.
Yeah.
And then get on a bunch of bulls until it's time for Willie Wardle to get his permit and start rodeoing.
So you got a month here.
Got a month left. We've got to make some memories. We're going to go to the casino. We're going to golf. We're not going to do any ranching. We're just going to party every day. Your dad listens to these?
Every day's a party.
Every day is a party. It's been pretty good.
So, yeah. Willie is back, but only for a short amount of time.
Amount of time.
You need to heckle him on all of our videos.
We do. That does open up a position, though.
Speaking of that.
Yeah.
If you are an editor.
Yeah. If you can edit or film.
If you can edit or film or be mostly edit and film. If you can do some other things as far as writing or ranching, it'd be awesome too. But if you are, we're opening a position. I got a place for you to live.
Beautiful house. It's actually that county road.
Yeah.
So if you get my mail, I'd appreciate it if you just let me know. We probably should clarify that we are not looking for ranch help. So do not DM Tucker Brown or Willie Wardle saying, hey, I want to come cowboy with you guys at the old R.A. Brown Ranch, and I can do this and do that, and I'll do whatever. No, we don't really give a crap. Like, we need someone that can film and edit. Do not do that. If you do not know how to use Final Cut or Adobe, and you can't turn a camera on and make sure it's in focus, please do not apply.
Yeah, don't apply. But if you do want to apply,
we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, message us. Anyway, we got a good guest today.
We do.
And
a veteran
what do you think?
The internship program.
A veteran.
Yeah.
And a princess.
Yeah. She's seen it all. She was on the horse side, cattle side. Weird horse girl.
Weird horse girl. Started out as a weird horse girl.
Yeah, she likes horses a little too much. I don't trust people like horses that much.
Well, we do want to welcome to the Registered Ranching Podcast the 3-time intern of the R.A. Brown Ranch, first-generation rancher, ranch horse team, Texas A&M graduate of a year that's not very long ago, and has gotten scammed more than any intern at the R.A. Brown Ranch. Welcome to the podcast, Emma Thrasher.
More than any person in the history of history.
Welcome to the podcast.
Well, hello. I'm happy to be here. I've heard of this podcast,
You've heard of it?
time or two.
Yeah.
You ever listen to one? Don't lie.
Two.
Which two?
Casey's. And I think the one that you did with the other interns, Grace. And
Oh, yeah.
like one of the first ones.
Only 2 out of 35.
I'm not a podcast
Oh, yeah,
girly.
EP.35 right here. Huh?
I'm not a podcast girly.
I feel like you are. What do you do whenever you make your halters?
Sometimes sit in silence
Oh, that's
or
deafening.
trap violin music. is
Oh
kinda
my
thing
God.
right now.
Dude, those are like 5 red flags in a row.
Anyway, moving on from whatever
Trap.
that was.
Trap violin.
Tell us about Emma Thrasher.
Well, there's a lot to know, I guess.
Flex. Right off the bat.
Well, I don't know if they're good things.
Where do you come from?
So I was
Wahoo!
Yes, everyone likes to say my town. I was raised in Wahoo, Nebraska, so quite a while from here, actually. And I was born in Minnesota, and then my family moved back to Nebraska, where our family was.
I
And
didn't know you were born in Minnesota.
Waconia.
That's even almost weirder to say than Wahoo.
There is no normal names.
Yeah, raised in Wahoo. I thought it was a small town back then, but Throckmorton's a little smaller. It's about 3,500 people.
Oh, yeah.
That's significantly larger than
About 3 times.
about 3 times.
4 times.
It felt
Almost
small.
5. Almost 5 times bigger than
almost.
Throckmorton.
It probably is 5 times. I don't think there's that many people living here anymore.
Yeah, I don't.
727 is what it says.
Do you think there's 700
700
people living here?
I think so.
Really?
In the county.
No.
Man, I mean, in the city limits, you don't think so?
I don't think so.
You don't get
Maybe
around enough.
skeletons. I don't know.
Okay. Wow. What else? Born in Nebraska.
Born in Nebraska, was raised there, kind of found myself in the ag industry like as soon as my feet hit the ground. And I went to my state school my freshman year of college, but
Go Huskers.
yeah, go Skurs.
GBR. Go Skurs. I've never heard that. I like it.
Yeah. Even though we always lose in football games,
Did you ever go to Iggy's?
No,
Oh, yeah.
because
You were 18?
Yeah, I was 18.
Yeah.
Nebraska has a tougher football schedule than A&M, though, so you guys are
I
playing
don't know.
higher caliber teams.
No.
St. Mary's? Okay.
Valid. Yeah, I visited A&M and knew I wanted to go, but out of state was kind of crazy to pay, and so went to Nebraska my freshman year and opted to transfer out as soon as that first semester hit, and that's how I found myself in Texas.
Went to College Station.
Yes, went to Texas A&M. Did not know it was a cult before I got there, but I can happily say I'm a part of the cult now.
I feel like that is such the opposite of 98% of people that went to A&M. Like, oh, I didn't know that they had yell leaders and we all yelled the same thing.
Yeah, actually, I remember going on my campus tour, and I actually was terrified because they made us do a yell at the end of the tour. And I didn't do the yell. I didn't participate at all, actually. And then fast forward 4 years later, I was a tour guide leading those yells for.
Yep. You led me in a yell.
Yeah, I did. Tucker actually did amazing. It was.
I have not done the yell, and I never will.
I would have been a good Aggie in another world.
Tucker would have been a good Aggie.
They want me. They just can't have me.
Wes
That's the thing.
Welker is going to be mad when he hears this podcast.
Why?
Because you just said you would have been an Aggie.
I didn't say I would have been.
A good Aggie,
I said I would have been a good one.
Whatever, dude.
not a 2%er.
Nah, I would have been the one everybody hated, probably. So were you on the ranch horse team the first year you went?
Yes, actually, that's kind of how I came to find Texas A&M. So, kind of jump back a couple years. Like growing up, I was super involved in 4-H and FFA, and I really enjoyed those. Ambassador for our county, and actually founded our FFA chapter through our public school because for some reason our public high school didn't have an FFA chapter, and
Wow.
kind of really weird for a small farm town.
Yeah, come on, Nebraska.
I know. So we ended up co-oping with our Catholic school in town and founded that chapter, and that was kind of a pivotal time for me. And I was like, maybe I can go do something different, maybe in a different state, because I wanted to explore something different, and my family had been raised in Nebraska for a long time. Nothing wrong with that, but so I actually went on good old Google
Nice.
because that's where I find all my answers and scams.
And scams. Yeah.
And I Googled animal science programs with some sort of way I could take my horse to college for cheaper than just packing him along.
When did you buy Flint? Your horse?
I guess when I was 16. My mom told me she wouldn't buy me one that was broke. So I bought a 2-year-old, and there's a lot of adventures. He still has not bucked. Besides,
We have it on video.
I saw it
that was the first time he ever bucked.
We have it on video.
and it wasn't even with you.
No.
It was in Frost.
Frost Bank
Arena.
Center.
Yeah.
Frost Bank Center in San Antonio at the Ranch Rodeo. The one time we needed him.
That was
I'm
his
just
first
kidding.
ranch
I
rodeo
know.
ever.
I know he did good,
Yeah.
except for that.
Yeah, besides
He
that.
got spurred in the flank. Do you blame him?
No, I would buck too.
Okay. Anyway, you wanted to take your horse.
Keith rode a Survey bucking horse and they got bucked off Flint. I think it was Survey. Pretty sure it was Survey. The
A little
Bronco.
embarrassing. Yeah, got him and was like, okay, how do I make this work? How do I make all these timelines line up? Obviously all is in God's plan, but I felt that God was calling me somewhere that wasn't Nebraska. And so I was like, okay, I have to learn how to cow horse. I have to transfer to Texas A&M when I figure out how to get in-state. And I have to do all this within like 2 years. And my horse is 2 at this time. So that complicated things. My mom was a huge help for me, and we ended up calling everyone in the books about how to figure out how to weasel our way into getting in-state tuition. And throughout all of that, I was learning how to cow horse on a horse that was not trained.
Broke. Trained, yeah.
Yeah, or broke. So that was comical in itself. I remember one time I was we were fencing, so like working on stopping my horse and making sure he ran true through the lines. And I used to tie my cinches with a T knot, like Texas T. And after this experience, I'd never have again. And I stopped my horse, and I looked down, and I was on top of his neck.
Oh.
My saddle was on his neck, and my cinch had snapped in half.
Oh. And he didn't buck.
No. He
What a
just
guy.
stood there. No, I know.
Go Flint.
Yeah, so there's a lot of trial and error with that, but
How much do you love Flint?
I'll never sell him.
Never.
50 grand.
No. I should, but
75.
No.
100?
No.
150.
No.
Dude, 150.
would.
I would sell anything. It would be gone. Take
I would
it.
sell anything.
Literally.
Your soul?
Yeah. 150,000? Take it. I don't even need the receipt.
Go you, I guess.
I guess. So, but wait, you're a first generation rancher, so your parents
Yeah.
weren't ranching?
Oh, no.
Did they farm at all? And no
No.
farming in the family at all?
Like my great grandparents, but no,
Okay.
my parents, like my mom had wanted a horse since she was a little girl, and she got one when she turned 30, and then she had me shortly after. And we grew up on acreages, like we had like 12 acres in Wahoo, and my dad was always in the shop, and my mom would come home with animals all the time, and everyone just was like, yay, besides my dad. So we had chickens, we had donkeys and horses and lots of random things that we found.
So a first genner.
Yes. I don't really like using that term, though.
What?
I know.
Because?
Well, I guess if I'm trying to acclimate into a world maybe I'm not super familiar with, I'm not going to go off on my points of weakness. So I'm going to find my strengths and what makes me different to stand out, not necessarily what could make me weaker.
Flex.
No. So I don't
Like
ever
that.
I usually use the term first gen. Not that it's a bad thing, but
No, I think it is like important information, but I don't know if it's information that you start out with. Hi,
Yeah.
I'm Emma. I'm first generation.
Yeah.
because if I'm going to be honest, no one really cares that much.
No. There's a lot, too. Like, there's a lot of people that are coming back into expression our generation. Like, it doesn't make you different.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you should associate with it.
Yeah, we're not, and I'm not like, what's it called? Gatekeeping.
No, you're gatekeeping.
No, I'm not.
No, you're gatekeeping.
I'm just saying, tell me who you are, not like that.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're first generation or not.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to know who you are.
At the end of the day, it's just a label,
Yeah.
and I'm just not a label girl. So
What are you, girl?
Horse girl.
yeah.
Crazy horse girl.
Crazy horse girl.
that's fine.
Not a what do you say? Not podcast girly.
Not a podcast girly, yeah.
Yeah. Not a label girly. Tell us about the scam. We need to get that out.
No, we'll get to
You
this.
want to go back to it?
No,
I need to
not
hear
yet,
about
not
the
yet.
scam.
So wait, why go when we kind of got off rabbit trail. Texas A&M ranch horse team.
Yes. So after my Googling, I found that Texas A&M had a ranch horse team, and so my mom and I packed up my bags as junior year in high school, and we were going to make a stop at OSU, K-State, and Texas A&M because I knew they all had very reputable animal science schools, and at that time I wanted to go to vet school, and that was really important to me. And our first stop was actually the furthest stop, so at Texas A&M, and after that stop, I actually canceled my other 2 visits.
Wow.
I know, I love
Even though you didn't do the yell.
even though I didn't do the yell. And I met with the ranch horse team coach at that time, and just super welcoming, super understanding. You know, you could tell that she had gotten a lot of people interested in the program, but I don't think she realized to what extent I was going to go to make sure I got there. Because at this time, I had a barely started 2-year-old, and I was fantasizing about moving 14 hours away from home. So in all reality, she probably didn't believe that I was actually going to do it. But, you know, a lot of people from my high school didn't actually think I was going to go to Texas one day. So
Look at you now.
I know.
Haters gonna hate.
Where were we then?
I talked to the ranch horse team. You canceled your
Oh, yeah.
other.
Canceled my other tours, the other schools, and then
No, you're good.
I ended up going to Nebraska for my freshman year, and COVID school kind of kicked me out halfway, and then I actually transferred to Texas A&M during COVID. Not a grand time. Would not recommend that. So
I just wouldn't recommend COVID.
yeah,
Yeah. Stay away from
general.
it.
horrible. So my sophomore year at A&M was spent mainly in my apartment. I had random roommates that I supposedly matched with
Nice.
on the roommate finder, but
There was no similarities between you and them.
maybe our hair color. That was probably
Was
about
that
it.
it?
Yeah, that was about it. And then after that year, like, life kind of took off, and I adored A&M. I started doing a bunch of research projects under different departments, mainly nutrition, under a couple different professors, and loved the hands-on work with that. And at this point, I still wanted to become a vet and specialize in theriogenology, become board certified in reproduction. Like, I had a very focused path. And so it's kind of interesting how God, you know, deviates you from that path and shows you new light. And that's kind of how those research projects, because they were all cattle. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. And there's a means to the end with this. Like, we're trying to make better food for our consumers, and there's a meaning behind this. And I love horse people and I love horses, but, you know, sometimes why? And it's because it's a hobby. It's fun. You know? And there's definitely money in it, but I needed more. And that's kind of what that brought to me. So then I worked for a bull stud, integrated breeder services in Hearn for a couple of years, and I got to see the repro side of it. And I thought it was cool, but I was like, you know, not for me. I really think I like the nutrition side. And so then kind of fast forward, I decided to stay a fifth year. I'm a fifth year undergrader. Not ashamed
What do they call
to
it?
say that.
Victory lap?
Yeah, my victory lap. Definitely did one of those. And I honestly never expected to do that, and I'm so grateful that I did because I was able to show my horse and spend time with my teammates and do some classes, that I wouldn't have necessarily taken.
Mm-hmm.
And during that time, I took a grad school class with my most favorite professor, Dr. Wickersham. And it was a grad nutrition class, and I'd taken a similar class like that before, but after I took it, I was like, you know what? I'm going to grad school. Like, I know exactly what I want to do. I want to be a ruminant nutritionist, and that's my thing.
How'd that go? God
said no. It's actually about a year ago today. No, probably like a little more than a year ago. He told me no. So, but in between all those times, I was bouncing back from Throckmorton to College Station quite a bit.
Yeah, how did you hear of the internship?
Well, I came here on our beef tour with Dr. Wickersham's class.
Oh, yeah. Group, what is it, April that A&M always comes?
Yeah, I think it's April or May.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those. And, I mean, I'd heard of y'all's horses, like, from showing, and y'all did an AQHA youth development program and donated some yearlings to kids, and so I'd heard...
Lanham's a good guy.
So I'd heard of it through there, and but when I got to the ranch, I was like, whoa. Not only are they ranchers, but they're teachers, and that was super inviting to me, and, I didn't feel like I necessarily had the experience to be on the cattle side at that time. And so afterwards, Dr. Wickersham and I talked, like how, or I guess it was during actually, like how can I figure out to get on this place and meet these people? And
During the tour?
During the tour,
Yeah.
Yes. We were kind of scheming in the background a little bit. And I remember I asked a good question and your dad gave me a hat. And I was like, I still have that hat.
Another
actually.
flex.
Yeah. Still have the hat. It's actually completely sweated out, so it's not really a hat I wear anymore.
Yeah, to catch up for, if you may not have understood that, if you come on a tour and you, Donald likes to give hats to the three best question, Ari Brown Ranch caps, to the three best questions, and you got one.
I did.
In a group of what, 60?
Yes.
Ooh.
When Dale brought us for our tour, I did not get a hat. Still a little salty.
A group of
about it.
9.
Our group of 9, I did not get one of the 3 hats.
Emma 1, Willie 0.
Can't win them all.
Nope.
So y'all were scheming, huh?
We were scheming, and I was kind of like, okay, how can I get here and use my assets and my qualities that I feel like strong in to get on this place? And I was like, okay. So a couple months after, I was still kind of thinking about it, and then I was like, well, what about the horse side? Maybe they need help on the horse side. And so somehow I found Lanham and Kelly's number. Honestly, not quite sure how. Maybe Yellow Pages or something. And I was honestly just super frank, and I called him, and I said, hey, can I come do a working interview? I'd like to work for y'all the next summer. I know you don't normally do summer internships, but I want to see if, my work ethic would be valuable in that time frame. And I think they were kind of like, who is this? Who is this girl? Why is she calling us? How did she get our number? And I guess like a month later, I showed up with my horse and my trailer, and I stayed for a weekend and did a working interview for them.
Got to ride with Lanham and...
I did. It was kind of like a little test. He put me, which is now my favorite ranch horse, Call. He put me on Call in the arena, and we just kind of ran circles for a good 20 minutes. And he laughs afterwards and says, yeah, he's really fast. I hadn't ridden him in a couple months, but I wanted to see how you would handle it. And little did I know that would just kind of open a huge door for me. And
when was that?
That was November 22.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah, that makes me feel old. That
you're like old now.
Very long time ago. So yeah, that just opened.
So you got the summer job.
I did get the summer job. So after that school year, I packed up my bags, and I kind of came during a funny time because y'all were still finishing up your spring intern session, so y'all still had your spring interns. And Lanham actually wasn't there. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, yeah, because you helped us for a few days.
I helped you and
Oh, my gosh,
Tyler
I
at
forgot
the
about that.
time. Yeah. And so I was just kind of thrown into the fire, but that's how I prefer it in any situation.
And you came back, so you
I
didn't
came
hate
back.
it.
Y'all accepted me again. So.
Yeah. So you did the summer with Lanham. Mm-hmm. Went back to school. And then you thought you wanted to come back.
Yeah, so I figured I'd better graduate. I feel like that was necessary.
Yeah.
It's important to do that.
Yeah, no comment.
Easy layup there.
Yeah, I decided to come back. Well, I didn't really decide. It was actually a total God thing. I came to help y'all spring sale because I had called Kelly and said, hey, do y'all need any help? I'm going to come show my horse here anyways. I would love to help out if possible. And Grace was still here at that time because she had stayed. And so I came here, and I just super fun environment, spring sales. I just really like that environment. There's a lot of horse things, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And so I helped out a little bit, showed my horse, and I just felt kind of a pull. I was like, this is crazy. I, need to graduate and go to grad school. So I just kind of blocked it out. And then I think it was that next Sunday, there was a sermon at church. And you know how those days where you just don't know what to do and you flip open your Bible and, hope that God...
Tell me something.
Yeah, show me some scripture that tells me what to do next. And that sermon basically, said that we need to open our ears and hear God. And I'd just been kind of blocking him out because I was like, he's crazy. I can't do an internship after I graduate. I need to graduate.
You have a job.
And yeah, I know. And so then I was like, I'm just going to call Kelly because I just adore her, and she's been a role model in a lot of ways in my life.
My mom.
Yeah, she's pretty cool. And so I called her and I said, this is really weird and this is really forward, but I feel that God is calling me to come back to the ranch. I don't know why, but I feel that I'm supposed to be back on the cattle side and stay for a year. I was like, I really don't have any details for you because this is all that I've heard from him, but this is super random. So,
by the way, you're supposed to hire me.
Yeah,
for
literally. And she was chuckling on the other side, and she was like, let me just pray on this too. And I was like, okay, perfect. So we're both just praying about it. And then about a week later, she said, you know what? Something really weird happened. I was like, what? And she's like, well, one of our interns I was supposed to come for the summer can't anymore. I was like, So
you're saying there's a chance?
Just saying there's a chance.
Yeah, so packed up my bags again on my horse and my dog Steve.
Good cow dog.
Oh yeah.
He's trained.
Yeah.
I
he's
trained him.
Real trained. I shock him with a shock collar and he just runs faster, so that's any indication. Yeah, packed my bags and had a long talk with Kelly and Donald about potentially staying a year, and they said, we'll see how the summer goes, and if your work ethic is the same as it was last summer, and if so, we'll see if you can do a similar apprenticeship as Grace did. And here we are, the longest intern that the ranch has ever had.
Yeah.
I don't know. Tucker might have you beat. He's been here for a while.
You got a point.
Yeah, but he's blood.
Yeah. Not being disrespectful. I'm just saying you work really hard for
Yeah, sure.
someone that's supposed to be employed.
Yeah.
You do a lot of things that's like, man, that's wrong.
Full-time intern. I have been
Full-time
since
intern.
2017. Yeah, stayed a year. Mm-hmm. Which that was an Aussie that was supposed to come that summer.
Yeah. I was trying to think if it was, and I remembered.
It was an Aussie that was supposed to come that summer. Didn't make it. And so we got stuck with Emma
I know.
on the cattle side.
Got to see the whole process.
Yep. Start to finish.
Was it weird coming back knowing us with two other interns that didn't know us?
I feel like it was an advantage for me, honestly, because they knew, that like we talked about, I wasn't going to go through the honeymoon phase of a couple weeks, and then my work ethic was going to slope downwards. And it was a little weird, though, because, I'd been on the horse side, so I observed you guys more. I hadn't necessarily worked with y'all. So that was different, like finding that balance and finding everyone's rhythm, because just like every horse trainer, every ranch or operation has a different way of, working and doing their daily tasks. So finding that rhythm was probably the most difficult at first. But once we got in a rhythm and I got to know the other two interns, I think started smoothing out.
Which were who?
They were Rylan and Briley. Or they had a lot of nicknames, but Rylan and Briley.
Yeah. 3-time intern. You stayed a year. Work ethic was good enough, I guess, to come back for the third time.
Yeah.
Apparently. And then I feel like when interns always get here, they have the honeymoon phase, then kind of a grind stage, and then at the end, it's either a takeoff.
Yeah, they can do 3 things.
They can get way better, stay the same, or get way worse. Most of the time, you either get better or get worse.
Yeah.
And that 6 months at the ranch is a long time for an intern. And you did it 3 times.
Yeah, I know.
And most people are ready to go. Like, all right, I've been an intern. I'm ready to go. So what made you want to do it? I mean, it was kind of 2 different jobs because you did the horse deal all summer, and that is very different than the cattle side. Hours, people you work with, the jobs, all very different than what you did on the horse side. So it is kind of different. Really, you did 2 in a row, and then you did 1 with Lanham. But what made you want to stay for the 3rd one?
I guess for me, I just told myself I'm coming back and I'm staying the full year because I want to see the production from the beginning to the end. I want to see those cooperator bulls come in. I want to see them sold. I want to see the new cooperator bulls come in. I want to see the calving. I want to see the breeding. I want to see both sales. I want to be a part of both. And ultimately, I wanted to become the best help possible. And for me, I felt that in order to do that, I needed to be there a longer amount of time. And that was really important to me, was seeing the big picture. And I love learning, and I love experiencing new things. And there aren't always those opportunities within the ranching industry or cattle industry for, younger people without, family connections. And so this was an opportunity I know I had to take off with. So
I hear it a lot on social media of people asking me, I've never been in ranching. How do I get in? There's all kinds of gatekeeping. There's nowhere for me to jump in. Why will nobody hire me even if I have no experience? What can I do? What do you say? Because you did it. You are the first generation that didn't have a foothold or a family member at a ranch and got in.
I would say if you're complaining about there not being opportunities and you're complaining about people not letting you in, then your eyes aren't open wide enough. Because there are so many people wanting to help those that don't necessarily have their foot in the door. And I was like, okay, I'm going to set myself up best for success, and I'm going to do that by involving myself in research projects, having multiple cattle jobs on my resume. And I don't care if those jobs involve, scooping poop all day long. I could put that on my resume. And I networked like crazy. I went to as many things as I could in college, and I utilized my horse connections too, because there's a lot of crossover with that. And I just continued to learn and continued to look, and I worked hard. There was a point in college that I had 4 jobs, and school was probably my last priority, and I don't like to say that, but it was, and that's because I was looking forward to my future and that I wanted to be involved in the cattle industry, and I felt that I was behind, so I was going to do everything that I could to get there. And there are a lot of good people like the Browns that are willing to help people that maybe haven't come from that background. And there's people like that everywhere, and you just have to open your eyes and look for them and work for it,
How many years you think from the time you wanted to do it until the realization of I'm doing it, how many years do you think that was that you worked to get there?
Probably like when I decided that I didn't want to be in the horse industry for my career and wanted to be on the cattle side, probably 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah, so I had to really hustle, especially being in a completely different state. You know, like I had cattle connections back home, but not in Texas. So I had to completely restart all of my connections. And yeah, that was challenging for sure.
I think going back to what you said about there's a ton of opportunities going out. I think something that separates you from the majority of people that are looking to get into it is that you were, like you said, you were willing to take those jobs. Like you're not going to get paid an outrageous amount, especially starting off, let alone if you have a bunch of experience. And that didn't discourage you. Like you accepted, like if I intern here, like I'm going to get some amazing experiences, but I'm not going to get rich off of it. Whereas a lot of kids that were probably your peers jumped off and just took some job doing whatever they could find. It might not necessarily be their dream job or aligned with what they want to do the rest of their lives, but they saw that salary and like, well, let me go do that. But you were so focused on what you wanted to do that you were willing to bust your butt and take that smaller paycheck. Because a lot of people, I want to go and do that. Like there was a person a couple months ago that was like, I really want to get into ranching. It's like, well, you're going to have to go and probably work for free for someone. Like they wanted to get into cutting horses, so they went to Weatherford, applied to a couple places. Like, oh, well, this person's only going to pay me, I think it was like $250, $300 a week to clean stalls. Like I'm not going to just go clean stalls for them.
That's good money.
And it's like, you're not going to get into it any other way. Like you have to embrace that. You're not going to get this prissy little job where you can do whatever you want if this is truly what you want to do. And I think that's something that a lot of people, anyone listening to this that wants to get into ranching or really get into anything. It doesn't even have to be ranching, but something that's hard to do. You're going to have to take jobs like that at first, especially when you don't know anything or have zero experience. You're going to have to go through that grind where it's not going to be very fun, or you can make it fun, but you're not going to get rich off of it. And I think that's something that you did that separated you from the majority of people that say like, oh yeah, I want to get into ranching, I want to do this, but then they're not willing to put in the work and go through that grind.
Well, we're going to go to one of my favorite segments of the podcast. Do you know what it is?
I have no idea.
She doesn't listen to the podcast.
Doesn't listen to podcasts. That's
should
why.
have prepared. Should've
Well,
done her
you're not
homework.
wearing ag gear, so that seat's about to get hot. Welcome to the ag gear hot seat.
Bet you wish you wore ag gear now, don't you?
Yep, they're actually doing, you can get a 15% discount on all ag gear shirts and clothing in general if you use code Tucker Brown.
Lower that MSRP. That's what I did.
Get the discount code Tucker Brown. And if you were wearing ag gear right now, this seat wouldn't get so hot. So we have some questions for you. Some questions from the crowd, actually.
When did you ask the crowd?
Secret. The first one. Do you say creek or crick?
Crick.
Crick?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I didn't know it was going to go this direction. Do you say pecan or pecan?
Weird.
Pecan.
Oh, thank goodness. I thought we were going down. Man, I didn't know how far you were going to go down that road. Do you like schools with cheerleaders or yell leaders?
Well, there's double-edged sword with that question.
Next question.
Yeah.
I think we all think. The
Next
leaders
question.
were
What
good.
was your favorite convention you got to go to while being an intern?
NCBA for sure.
National Cattlemen's Beef Association.
Yes.
San Antone.
That was fun.
That's rodeo.
It was super fun, and that was honestly one of my favorite parts about this. As I told Donald, like going into this internship, I really wanted to make connections and be able to go to the conventions and network like that. And him and Tucker definitely made that possible. And NCBA was just super eye-opening. Like I had no idea so many people gathered together, for one cause and to make better beef for our consumers. And it just was very eye-opening, and all the speakers and the education and booths.
And Howl at the Moon.
And Howl at the Moon.
Oh, yes.
We did Howl at the Moon with the, what do you call those? Karaoke. Piano bars.
Piano bars.
Mm-hmm.
Piano bars. I feel like, I don't remember what day it was, but it was, you hadn't had a job lined up yet.
Oh, yeah.
After the internship, and you were like, I need to find a job.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I think people need to ask more questions, because the moment you ask that, about like 32 minutes later, you had a job offer. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I have all the answers, but the moment you asked me that,
Yeah.
like 32 minutes later, you had a job offer, because
Like interviewing in the corner of
Yeah,
The
of
convention
a
center.
network. But what we sometimes, I mean, having that knowing someone is almost as important as what you know.
And everyone knows
Maybe
Tucker
even
Brown.
more. No,
Oh,
no.
100%. I probably applied online to over 50 jobs, and I feel like my resume is semi-decent. And, I went and took an internship after, so it's a little bit different than other people's. But honestly, all of my job applications that continued to progress were ones that I knew people.
Mm-hmm.
And Tucker, you were actually very helpful in setting me up with the right people for sure, too.
Are we sure that the online jobs were legitimate jobs? That you
Or were they
applied for?
scams?
Were they scams?
I mean, maybe we'll never know.
Okay, yeah, but just to show we'll talk about the importance of networking, but we're still in the hot seat. So, next question is: if you get a text saying that you have polls that you need to pay for, what do you do?
Oh.
Tolls. If you have tolls you need to pay for, what do you? I don't know why I said
Tolls?
polls.
Yeah, I was confused.
So to redo the question: if you get a text on your phone that says you haven't paid for your toll fee, what do you do?
Well, you definitely don't whip your card out and start.
Did you actually do that? Is that one of the scams?
Yes.
Emma fell for the scam.
My 5th card of the year. Yeah, definitely don't put your
I
card.
always think that is like, who is falling for these? Because they'll text me like it's some random number that has Asian letters in it. And it's like, oh, Marilyn called and they want you to pay this deal. It's like,
Okay,
no,
well,
I know this is fake.
I definitely had ran through tolls with my truck and trailer like after Fort Worth Stock Show, and
I
my mom
have
had
too.
yelled at me about it, and I was scared of my mom, so I was like,
I'll just pay it real
yeah, I'll
quick.
just pay it real quick.
How'd you figure out it was a scam?
Well, after I did it, then it just looked really sketchy, and then I called my mom and was like, hey. She was like, well, we get mail from it.
Well, the mail ones are scam too. Like those ones that they keep mailing Tucker about me from Oklahoma and Texas and all
He might need to look into
those are scams, right? Those aren't legitimate, are they?
Yeah, you need to look into that.
I've got like 30 toll envelopes from Rodeo, and I was like, I'm not paying these.
You
They
got to
can't
look
find
into
me.
that. You have any questions for the hot seat? That's all from the crowd.
If Nebraska played Texas A&M, whose jersey are you wearing?
Oh, Nebraska.
Oh,
That's what I'm talking
I
about.
didn't know you were going to go that way.
I was like
Yeah.
big. I've been a big football girl, but I've never
Big
really
GBR.
invested in Texas A&M football. Like, no offense. Like,
I feel like if there was one place to invest in football, it is
Texas A&M.
A&M.
Are you serious?
of the places we're talking about.
Okay, but Husker football is just different. Even if they
Yeah.
lose every game, it's just.
That's a
And A&M's not.
no, dude. That's all superficial.
I just like knew the guys. Like some
It's
of
so
them I went
A&M
to high
is so
school
different.
with, and
Penn State.
I'd rather root for Tech than root for A&M.
we
Oh,
don't
me
even know
too.
where Penn State is. So
It's in Pennsylvania. It's literally in the name. It's literally in the name. I thought you graduated college.
Okay, what is your favorite brand of shirts?
Yeah.
like to wear.
Mm-hmm. Is the seat going to get hot or not?
Oh, are we still?
We're still in the hot seat.
Well, I haven't gotten any free Ag Gear shirts.
Okay. I thought you were going to name another
I
brand.
did
It was
too.
gonna
I
go
was like,
right
hang
over
on,
your
I'm
head.
trying. I'm trying.
It was going right over your head.
Well, good job in the Ag Gear hot seat. Use code Tucker Brown at aggear.com, aggearstore.com.
Low that
Google it.
MSRP all the way down.
Get a
to the bottom.
discount. Get the discount and try the shirts. I've been wearing them for 4 years. I love them. Okay, we're going to go to my favorite segment of the podcast. Do you know what it is?
No.
The Bedrock tough question. The toughest truck beds in the whole world. Is it the whole world or are we saying America? Whole world?
I like America. It's made
Okay,
in America.
I mean, that's the only country
Which
that really
it
matters.
is, like if it's the best in America, it's the best in the world.
Yeah, 'cause
so,
we're already number one.
welcome to the Bedrock tough question. Bedrock truck beds, those are the beds that we drive with because they're the toughest ones.
You've used one before a couple times
Yeah, I
in your
have,
internship.
actually.
And what are your thoughts on them? Do you like
I
them?
like them. The little baby sides that go up and you can take down.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have a Bedrock truck bed, so I just
No,
have
you
wood
don't.
sides, and
Yep.
it looks like
The watermelon farmer. Bedrock does not support the bedrock or watermelon farmer
Nope.
look. They support watermelon farmers, just not the look.
Right.
I had to be
Good
really
save.
careful with
Good
how I
save.
said that.
Good save.
Getting a little nervous there. Should have had
Okay, so Bedrock truck beds made in America. We love them. That's why we use them. You should go get one. The tough question: what is the toughest part about being an intern at the
Yeah.
R.A. Brown Ranch?
What made it so hard?
This is a good question.
I know. It's the Bedrock tough question.
It's a very tough question.
I feel like it's definitely different for every person. I would say the hardest thing is sometimes, there's long days. Like in the summer, sometimes we were working over 12 hours a day and it's hot and you're tired. Not letting your inner light dim. And
Attitude.
yes. And that's something that, I've always tried to really I like positive attitude, happy spirits, because it just makes the day go by faster if you're joking around, having fun. And sometimes, you don't know what's going on in people's personal lives. You don't know what's going on in my personal lives. And not everyone's going to have a great day every day. But I think that was definitely difficult when my light, started to dim a little bit and I was tired and, it was wintertime and it was cold, or if summertime it was hot, and I don't do very well with Texas heat, if you never knew. And that was probably the hardest part, was learning how to find strength to keep my attitude up and keep my light shining and keep everyone else's spirits up. Mm-hmm. Because I like doing that. I like making everyone else laugh and have fun.
I hate doing that.
It's literally
I
what
can
you do. All the time.
Yeah, attitude's big. And attitude's a big part in the interns we hire. Like that they have a good attitude. If we ever get a reference, they're like, only thing I'd change about them is that, sometimes their attitude can get down. Like,
Bye.
If that's ever in there,
Scroll.
scroll. Swiping left. Bro.
Swipe left.
Out. Because it is hard.
But if you're grateful, you really can't. I found strength in being grateful. And if I'm grateful for these opportunities, then why would I have a bad attitude about it or let my tiredness show? Because ultimately, it's not helping anyone. It's not helping you. It's not helping your coworkers. It's not helping the other interns. So
I'm so grateful to be doing breeding soundness exams. Is that what you were saying to yourself?
yeah, every time a new bull got in the shoe, that was exactly.
That was the mentality I had when I was probing. And I got through Monday. I probed every single bull.
Yeah, and then you weren't there the last day.
Yeah, because I was throwing up, Emma. I was going to keep going. I was determined.
You took that personally.
I was
determined. Because I was throwing up, Emma.
Well, Emma was the one that came out and said, "You're not probing anymore." I was like, "No, I'm going to do this."
Okay, because I felt bad for you.
I was like, "I'm going to keep doing this," and she was like, "No,
I'm just a better prober, so it's fine."
Yeah, you were walking.
You're the best. You're the best torpedo operator. I'm fine.
The old tail gunner. That's what we like to call
Gosh
it.
dang, I did feel like trash, and I was trying so hard to keep going through, and I could feel myself slipping more and more.
Ugh. Bad news.
But I want to piggyback off that. I think that's it reminds me of. I know we're not getting to the scriptures yet, but it's Paul's talking about rejoicing in your struggles, and then it makes me think of Lonesome Dove as deeds. Like, what a better phrase to have put on your gravestone than cheerful in all weathers. Because if you can rejoice in your struggles and be happy in the worst of the worst, of course you're going to be happy in the best of the best.
Right.
And that's something that I've been working on is why not just, if you just have a great attitude all the time, like Marcus Luttrell, lone survivor guy. Mm-hmm. He says he puts his feet on the morning every single morning.
Whoa.
He puts his feet on the floor every single morning.
Okay.
Sorry, I was getting fired up.
He puts his feet on his feet every morning.
He puts his feet on his feet every morning. No, he puts his feet on the floor every morning, and he's like, Satan, do your best. You can't bring me down. God's got my back. Bring it on. And having that, what a champion mentality of just
yeah.
We're going to, no matter what happens, I'm going to have a smile on my face. And it's hard, but I think the more and more you do it, the easier it gets.
So attitude be the hardest thing, huh? Keeping the good attitude through the grind of the internship.
Yes, I would say that, but also not feeling responsible for other people's attitudes. You can't.
I don't know. You brought some of those interns down.
Okay.
Well, yeah, good segment. One of my favorite segments of the podcast, right there
It's
with
the
Bedrock.
toughest segment.
The toughest segment. Absolutely. All right. You got some. First of all, I've tried to scare you for 3 months.
Yeah, he's been trying.
How have you
really
prepared
hard.
for that? Let's hear that.
It's one of my
I
favorite
have
things.
no idea.
Watching.
He just doesn't.
So you're not mentally preparing I know Tucker's gonna I'm
No,
gonna have a
I
good
do.
attitude
No,
today.
he's tried really hard and done very good job at sneaking up on me.
I have done great jobs.
When I was power washing the trailer one day, didn't
Yeah.
you? Yeah. And I just turned around and looked at him.
Yeah, she did. It was so defeating. Like I love jump scares. Like
Yeah, you crave off of it.
dude, I crave watching somebody jump scare. Like you
It's
get to see
blast.
the real person.
I don't think she's telling the full
Emma's
story.
real person just goes.
Well,
Stares.
normally I would be like,
Which, yeah, you would think that because then like a bull that is red hot is storming towards her and she's like, ah! And then you go scare
Freezes.
her and she's just,
Freezes. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I think she prepared for it. She's like, I'm going to have a good attitude today and Tucker's going to try to scare me at some point and it's not going to get me.
And I never got her.
I
Never
know.
did.
I never got her.
Internship's over. Oh, dude, that's crazy. Internship's over. So you have to live with the fact that you have never gotten interns or Emma as an intern. It's
I know.
gone.
I know. Never scared her.
You want to come back
Pretty
for
upset.
a fourth round?
I'm upset about it. We need to hear some ranch stories, some intern stories from the ranch, some moments that you'll probably remember most.
Core memories from the RAB.
Yeah.
This is a new segment for interns.
Okay, well, for those listening, I'm pretty gullible. And so everyone likes, the
That's an
boys
understatement,
like
yeah.
to play a lot of pranks on me all the time and
You're not
feed me a lot
gullible.
of information that is not real. And I just am always, like upbeat. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll learn that.
Sure,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
I can't wait to learn.
Okay, not quite like Willie, but similar manner. And we were putting in magnets. I think it was
Oh,
new
this is-
cooperators had brought their bulls in, and this was last June, end of June. And so with check-in, we go through, a lot of processes, make sure their tattoos are right, they got their new tags, and we put in magnets. And what do the magnets say on them right now? Why am I-
Sundown.
Sundown. Okay, so the magnets on them say sundown, okay? And we always place these magnets out on the metal side of the chute so that we're ready to put them in because it's kind of a fast process. And Tell was standing there, and I actually, was it you?
It was Eason.
No, it was
Eason.
not me.
Was it Eason?
It was Eason.
No, it was me.
Okay, what?
It was Eason?
Yes, it was
Yeah.
Willie. He was
Oh.
like, "Hey, Emma, can you go get the sun up magnets because, the time of the day right now, you have
It
to."
was the morning, and it's important to make sure that you give the correct magnets.
The
at
sun up rather than the
Yeah.
sun down.
Yes.
And I kind of look at Tell, and Tell is not a good liar, okay? And so at this time, I didn't know that, but he wouldn't make eye contact with me, but he would look at me on the side, and he was giving me the science behind it. He said, you have to do it 12 hours before with the sun up magnet if you're going to do it in the evening, giving me this reason of how it settles into their rumen. And I was like, weird. I didn't learn this in any of my graduate nutrition classes, but this is cool. So I proceed to dig everywhere.
You never found them?
Never found the sun up
Really?
magnets. And
They're in there.
that's because they don't actually exist, everyone. So
That's a cruel
future
joke.
interns, if you are listening to this,
Who would ever do
and
that?
they try, because I know they're going to, if they try to
No.
tell you that there are sun up magnets, there's not. Sundown is the brand.
I got Briley looking for yellow-breasted pin snatcher poison in the lab too. The same joke because I knew I couldn't do the magnets because Emma was going to write them out. So then I pulled a new one out of my sleeves like, hey, Briley, can you go? Because the trick is if you say it super confident really quick, they're going to be like, oh, he's legit. So he went in there and looked for yellow-breasted pin snatcher poison in the lab. It's like,
And there wasn't any?
there wasn't any.
No way.
Yeah.
I like those birds.
They're crazy. I haven't seen them yet, though, this year.
I'm going to have to look them up.
Poison must have worked.
Oh, that's what it was. The poison must have worked.
There was a bunch. I'm trying to remember them, but I've gotten some interns on some good ones. I got Cade pretty good.
Why, what was your favorite New Year's Eve party and why was it ours?
Oh, yeah. I did make a special trip, not this year, but last year, to come up. I drove up with another old intern, Olivia. She actually flew down from Wyoming, and then we drove up from
Shout out, Olivia.
C-Stat. We played a lot of games. Well, no one was playing any games, and then, there's some peer pressure involved, and
No, I would never do that.
then we played some games. It was pretty fun.
You're welcome.
I've
for
never-
getting you to
I was
play
grateful. I didn't want to sit there anymore.
I've never been to a New Year's Eve party at the Ari
That's
Brown
pretty fun.
Ranch.
There's
for your
lots of
birthday.
karaoke.
We throw your
Oh,
birthday party every year.
That's where
I
was
know.
it the handyman that started singing that was in a band? Who was that?
Oh, Brady.
Yep.
Yeah.
The handyman.
Brazos Stone. That's the name of his store.
Yeah.
Handyman, he came out, started singing. That's how drunk they
Yeah,
got.
but he sang pretty good, huh?
Yeah, he did. I was impressed.
I need to make it to one of those.
Ooh, what about the coyote?
Oh, yeah. Tyler Rogers, who was here the first round of internships that I was in, caught a baby coyote, and we all wanted to take a picture with it, and, it was really cute, actually. I have lots of pictures with it. But the game warden didn't really like that very much.
Did he talk to you?
No.
Oh, that's because he talked to me. He chewed me out.
And I don't even think Tucker
I wasn't even
was
there. I wasn't even there.
You got chewed out for it?
Yeah, so they
so
caught
cute,
this.
though.
They caught this coyote.
Yeah.
Took pictures with it, posted it on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Next
I
thing
definitely
know,
posted it on social media.
next thing
Is it
I
still
know,
up?
no,
No,
it better not be.
I don't think so. I think I had to delete it.
I got-
You go look.
I got a call from one of my buddies who's a game warden. He said, "Hey, Tuck, how you doing?" I was like, "Man, I'm good." I wasn't even at the ranch. He's like, "Oh, well, seems like your ranch crew caught a coyote." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I saw pictures of that." He's like, "Yeah, you can't do that." It's like, "Oh,
When was this?
I remember Tyler was like, "Yeah, I think it'd just be so cool if that coyote was like sitting by my feet in the morning in the saddle house, and just like followed me around all day." And I was like, "Okay, well, this thing's just trying to bite us through the cage, but
Yeah.
all power to you."
Then that game warden, he goes, "My boss knows that I know you, and he's gonna call you. So just like be ready for that." I was like, "Okay." He's like, "Just make sure the coyote's gone." I was like, "Okay, yeah." I'm not even there, but I will tell them. And so yeah, I get a call from his boss, and he was not very happy with me.
She has one with a horny toad, and I got really excited. Like, it's still here. But
No.
I don't
Was
think
that?
it's
Oh
on.
yeah, the horny toad you saw, was that the first one?
Love horny toads. Yeah, Tucker caught one for me the first time in 23, and then when Anna was still here, the other Australian
Ozzy.
got to catch another. That one was fat. That one was a big horny
It was
toad.
a big toad, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was so cute. Another funny memory, though, if you don't mind.
Oh, go ahead. It's your podcast now.
Oh, yeah. So sometimes the guys, joke around like girl power, like we're just
Mm-hmm.
weak little girls, which, if I can't pick something up, I'm going to be like, please, can a strong man come help me?
And there was Rylan.
Got to boost the ego a little bit. But we were out, Grace and I were out tagging calves, and we had just had kind of a comical day. I think one of the recips didn't really want her baby caught, and so I believe that was the day that Tell had to come get the baby off his flatbed of his truck. So that was just a very comical situation. And then we were trying to sneak up on this calf because most of them are small and you don't actually have to rope them. You can just toss the rope over their head or crouch down and go sneak up on them. Well, I'm not very sneaky, and I'm also not very coordinated. So Grace was on George, one of the ranch geldings, and he is kind of weird about some things. And she was like standing in front of the calf, and it was sleeping in this bed of rocks. And so I get off my horse and I try and like sneak over there, and I really just clomp around, twist my ankle, and then the calf gets up, and I was like, I am not losing this calf, because I had lost another calf trying to sneak up on it. So I dove on the rocks, and at this point Grace is like crying, laughing, and the calf then, after I try and grab its legs, which I obviously miss, and I don't grab its legs, and I'm still crawling trying to get after it, and the calf goes under George's, the ranch gelding's, legs, and he won't get out from underneath the horse. So Grace is like trying to spin around, like see it, and George is freaking out because he can't see the calf, and the calf is under the horse, and both of us were just laughing so hard. We ended up getting it, but just stuff like that happened. I had multiple horses run away from me when we were tagging. My show horse that's supposed to know how to ground tie took off, probably went a couple miles. That was a good time.
Good time.
Yeah. So there's always things happening, but honestly, they make the best stories and they bring up the day a little bit. So
They do make the best stories.
yeah.
What about, so for the new interns coming in, or those that are wanting to apply, any advice besides good attitude?
Mm-hmm.
Any advice?
I would say confidence and not boldness to a fault, but, I wasn't scared to come to ask for a working interview the first time. So I think really being direct about that this is important to you and this is something that you want to do and you're willing to go an extra length to show them that you want this is huge. I think really focusing on your strengths and not pointing out your weaknesses is important. An internship, you're not supposed to come here knowing all the things. Everyone knows that. You're supposed to learn and you're supposed to grow and you're supposed to grow in your weaknesses. But if you come in here saying, well, I don't know this, and before you even get the position, I don't know this, I don't know if I'd be good enough, that's not the attitude or the perspective. You want to say, hey, this is how I can be an asset to you. And then, through being an asset in that area, you'll then learn in other areas. So, I knew, my horsemanship was going to be able to help out, and my schooling and random repro experiences would be able to be an asset, and my work ethic. And then I knew there was a lot of gray areas that I needed to polish. But that's the whole idea of an internship. I've had a lot of kids ask me about the internship, too, on social media, and they say, well, I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to do that. And, okay, that's fine. That's why you get other jobs, I wanted to learn how to AI, so I took an extra class at A&M. I worked for a bull stud, and then I went and got AI certified. And so if you want to know how to do something, find different areas that can, different jobs or different opportunities that can help you. But don't make that deter you from experiences, because you never know what you can offer that someone else can't.
What do you think was an odd thing you offer one of your strengths, odd strengths for the ranch was? Cow side.
I would say,
I thought you were good at running the booths at the trade shows.
oh yeah. Yeah. That's kind of, and I like being the face sometimes. I enjoy that. I think that's where my tour guide comes out a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I guess that was something that I really enjoyed too. And I think it showed because I enjoyed it. I then was good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like hearing people's stories and learning more about other people. And I think that's what maybe made me succeed in that, because people love talking about themselves. So if you can strike up conversation with someone and make them feel important and cared about, which they are, and bridge that connection between operations or companies or livelihoods, it's kind of cool to see.
What was the biggest difference between, I remember you saying at one point there was, between the show arena, and the pasture? Like ranching in the pasture and showing in the arena.
Yeah, this was a hard one. And this actually carries more into life than I realized. But, I have grown up showing, not ranching. So I'm used to a contained environment. I have way more control because, if my horse runs off, fine, I'll let him run off right into the fence. There's a lot more control, at least how I felt. And I'll never forget, we were moving some cows, I want to say maybe North King. I can't remember. And we were moving them to get some videos done on them. And one of the cows, I believe it was some recips that we were selling, and one of them took off out of the herd. And it was in my part. And I just kind of froze up and didn't move. And looking back, that's sometimes how I handle a lot of things in life. So it's weird how it carries over. But I just froze up, and Tell looked at me and said, "What are you doing?" And I just looked at him and I was like, "Oh, crap."
Nothing, actually.
And he was like, "When a cow leaves the herd, you go after it." And he's like, "I don't care if you're going 90 miles an hour. That's disrespectful of that cow, and you need to be on top of it." And it wasn't that I wasn't paying attention, but I just, there was lots of hills and rocks and trees and, not good footing. And I just panicked, and so then I didn't do anything. And so then obviously I went after it and brought it back. But I think that was something that I then tried to focus on afterwards, like make a point of, you know, when something happens out of the ordinary, for me to have a reaction. And I've been roping a lot more. That's kind of been a goal of mine in the last couple of years. And I noticed that happen too, because we were, you know, practicing after work, and like if I couldn't get the cow lined up in the arena the right way, then I just couldn't do it. I would just stop, or I would scream sometimes. I scream. And it was interesting because then I thought about, like, in my life, when things don't go exactly how I have planned, or don't have anything, like there's nothing that goes wrong with it, or there is stuff that goes wrong with it, I just can't even react. I just completely freeze up and lose focus instead of, you know, let my muscle memory take over and keep going. So I feel like I'm starting to chip away at that, but that's been a huge learning curve. But honestly, it has helped me in the show pen a lot. I've probably had some of my best shows with the least amount of showing in the last 6 months, which is kind of funny because I showed all the time in college. And not that I didn't have great shows, but there's a lot more aggression now that I have in the pen that I didn't have before. And I think that's because
your get it done attitude.
Yeah, I have to get it done, and I'm not scared that something's going to go out of control, because I know it's going to be out of control. I know I'm not going to be able to predict what happens next, whether that's in life, whether that's in the pen, or whether that's outside of the pen. So that is one of the biggest takeaways that I've had of this internship and job that has, I think, helped me and will carry over, not only in the arena, but in life too.
That was good. That was good. Have you ever had an injury on the ranch?
I knew he was going to bring this up when I said roping. Oh, yeah. Hey, I'm actually about to show in that same show that I ripped my hand off in.
Wow.
Yeah. Summer 23. They moved the Haskell RHA to the end of the summer because it had rained out. And so I was like, oh, I'll catch this show real quick before I leave and go back to school. And at this point, I really wasn't that confident roping.
And you were gonna go to that show and then go with us the next day to College Station for the beef cattle short course.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. So I'd shown in one RHA show in Wichita, and I had done well, and I had caught. It was a slow calf though, so. And I caught, and I was like, okay, I bet I can do this one too. Well, like I like to panic, this one was a runner, and so I caught the calf, and I thought I got 2 wraps, and I didn't, and it went zing, and I held on to my my loops and a little too tight, and it just completely like ripped both my hands off so bad. Everyone's like, oh, was it your right hand, your thumb? It had nothing to do really with my right hand. It was all my left hand.
That rope burn.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
It was so bad.
So you roped the calf. You thought you dallied.
I thought I had 2 wraps, but I just had like half
a wrap.
Yeah. And yeah, horrible sound. And I really didn't think anything was wrong with my hands until I got out of the arena, and like the air hurt. It was.
That hurts my stomach a little bit.
Yeah, I still don't have any feeling on my left pinky, actually.
It tore you up.
Yeah.
Did you see the bone?
Mm-hmm.
Gross.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
And then she walks up the next morning, like we're packed, ready to leave. I told her I was going to pick her and another intern up at this time, and she's sitting outside the office.
That's where my wrist dangling started.
I feel like
she was just holding her hands up, kind of like Ricky Bobby when he says he doesn't know what to do with his hands. They were like up by her shoulders and just dangling. And I was like, what is she doing? She had white wraps on them. And we were getting ready to load, and she was like, yeah, I can't help you load. I tore my hand. She showed it, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, no one.
Do you even need to go? You need to go to the hospital.
Put that back on.
I was dedicated.
Oh my gosh.
I was dedicated to beef cattle short course for sure.
Put that back on.
Yeah,
that was bad.
I stopped roping for a little bit after that. It took a couple months for that to heal. But then after that, I was like, this is embarrassing. I have to figure this crap out. Yeah. So I remember my mom was like, "Are you gonna rope again? I think you should maybe just not. I don't think you're good enough to do that." And I was like, "No, this is every reason why I have to." So luckily now I can say I can dally appropriately. So
Wow. Now this is a segment that can or cannot happen. You get to become the host, and you get to ask me or Willie a question.
No, it's only for the host. I'm
a host.
No, I'm the assistant to the host. So I maintain a neutral position.
So is this saying you don't want me to ask you a question?
No questions here.
Okay.
So you get to ask me a question.
So you have the hot seat then.
I'm wearing ag gear. It's not hot. And maybe you don't have one.
No, I definitely have one.
You can ask me questions if you really have to.
Okay, when you were in your intern phase, okay, what was the worst, or maybe it wasn't in your intern phase, what's the worst job that you have had to do on the ranch?
The summer of 2011, we had
Oh, I was 10.
Back in the day.
I was 16, something like that. My job was to lay and pour the slab of the north, of our north silage pit.
Ooh.
And so we
Concrete,
were
baby.
down in that hole and we were laying concrete.
You're telling me your dad didn't want to hire like extra people to help finish the concrete?
Wow, when he had his, and my granddad too. Like they were both just like, hey, you got football next year.
2 days are coming up, boy.
You're gonna pour concrete
Yeah.
all summer. Lanham's over there training, little bitty colt or a horse or something.
Him
They're like,
and Casey are
get ready for football. And so 2011, that's when the drought started. 100 days of 100 degrees in a row
Oh.
in that hole, and it was brutal.
Yeah, that does not sound fun.
And
Did you pass out?
No, I never did. I learned to drink water. One of the concrete guys, one of the concrete trucks, a couple years later, he goes, "Man, I have to apologize because they had me do all the jigging, they call it. It's when you get in the concrete and you have the jigger that you have to. What does it do?
You got to get that cream to rise in the concrete.
Yeah.
My last day in Utah, I got a little side hustle. So Joe's friend Dallin pours concrete. So
Did you run the jig?
we call them rakes. They're
Rakes.
rakes. And then while that concrete truck is pouring, me and this Australian kid Dave were sitting there
Jigging it.
getting all the cream to rise.
So were
Yep.
you supposed to be doing that?
I was. Well, he apologized because he said, your granddad told me that you needed to toughen up a little bit
So he
and to
poured
make you
quick-
jig the whole time.
Oh, dang.
No.
So I was full-time.
And at first it's deceiving because at first you're like, oh, this isn't that bad because you're just going back and forth.
Yeah.
And you're like, you really don't want to do it hard because if you do it too hard, then you're not getting it level. You want to keep it level. But then
It was brutal.
after a minute of doing it, it starts wearing on you.
That's the worst one I've had.
Yeah, I mean,
I
that
believe
sounds
that.
pretty.
It was
Terrible.
terrible. It was terrible. We went for a while, right when I came back, 2017. We went for a while without interns, and so it was basically me. Like I was doing the chores and
Yeah.
putting out the hay and putting the horses up, and that wasn't very fun either.
No, not by yourself.
No, right. It was by myself.
Yeah.
That's what. I mean, it was nice. It was okay, but I'm way more thankful for interns now since I had to do that because that's the intern's first job. Like,
Yeah.
hey, you're going to learn how to bring up horses and care for them and all that.
I think it's nice, like, you having that perspective and Grace having that perspective, because I feel that y'all have, the insight to be able to help and teach in a different way because you have done it, you have experienced it.
And you have the empathy.
Yeah, a little bit of intern empathy.
Yeah. It's a big word for me there.
That is really big. I didn't know you knew that word. Cause
Penn
you
State.
didn't-
It's in Pennsylvania.
Penn State's where I graduated from, actually.
I didn't graduate. I dropped out.
Any other questions while you have the mic?
Yeah, do you even
Oh.
ranch? Like, why don't you have your boots on?
Yeah, where's
Because
your
they
cowboy
are
stuff?
they're literally full of manure because we were AIing.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was wondering the same thing.
We were AIing. I didn't. That's why I have a poop stain on my shirt on my left arm because
just
I was.
one? That seems a little fishy.
Look at my.
The people can
pants,
see
bro.
it.
Look at these down here.
Oh yeah, there's some dirt.
Yep. So I had to change shoes, or it wouldn't have smelled very great.
Yeah.
That's fair. I'll let you have
What a
that one.
guy.
No more questions for you. You don't get any more questions. Firing shots. Okay. Do you have a favorite verse or chapter?
Yes.
Or-
Well, I have. So it's a newer verse that I have.
Like new to the Bible?
New to the Bible?
Why'd
No.
you do-
I was like,
They just added a new section.
don't
I mean,
fool
it's
me
kind of
like
new.
that.
It's kind of new.
No. I kind of rotate my favorite verses, and Romans
That's fair.
5, 4 through 5 is my favorite. So I don't have it memorized yet. I really need to get on that.
Is this rejoice in your struggles?
Yes.
Ooh.
I literally just said that one.
You
That was the
did.
one I
Oh,
was
but-
going to say.
Yeah, but I couldn't say it then. We weren't ready for it. You know.
That's not fair. She's copying. She has to pick a different one.
Nope. This is it. We rejoice in our afflictions because we know that affliction produces endurance, which produces character, and proven character produces hope, and this hope will not disappoint us.
What is that in?
Romans 5, 4 through 5. And
That's a good one.
hope has always kind of been a foreign, like, not a foreign concept, but I think there's a lot more depth to hope than we really realize. And that verse just kind of showed, like, the life is a journey and, you know, it's not a destination. So that verse kind of carries over into.
I don't know. My destination's heaven, bro.
I mean, I would hope so. That's mine too. But if we're, you know,
Yeah.
always next job, you know, next thing,
Mm-hmm.
instead of enjoying where we're at right now. I think
Was that yours?
I've got another one.
You got another one? Hit me.
Since I was just copyrighted, stolen from. I literally already cited it earlier in the podcast. But I'm not that upset about
you
it.
just said rejoice in afflictions. You didn't say
I said,
Romans 5,
rejoice,
4 through 5.
rejoice in your struggles, and I said Paul said it, but it's okay. I'm not really that upset about it. It's fine.
Okay.
Jeremiah 29:11, and
Good one.
it's just that, like, I mean, I could read the actual thing, but he's pretty much just saying that, like, God's got a plan. He's not planning for you to be like for your shortcomings and your failures. Like, it's a plan of good. He wants you to do good, and in the moment, it might seem like everything possibly is going wrong, but God's using that to build you. And I think it also says later in that verse that Emma just shared that God's using that to shape us. And if you think about it, like, easy, comfortable circumstances don't really do very much molding. It takes insane
True.
amounts of pressure. I mean, the difference between diamonds and graphite is chemically they're the same thing. Yeah, exactly. It's pressure.
Pressure is a privilege.
Extreme amounts of pressure. So, like that's something I've been thinking of. Like, no matter what, at the end of the day, we're all going to the same place. Like, we're not going to make it's still recording. We're all
Okay.
going to die at some point. Like, that's just part of life. So, why not try to make the most of it? And when life is beating the crap out of you and things aren't going your way and this isn't working out, this job said no, this girl said no, or this guy said no, depending on what you're into, it's 2025. And
Is that you?
who cares? Like, there's going to be a lot at the time. God wants you to do good. Keep pushing through. And if anything, like Emma just said, it's a privilege. Like, God's making this super hard stuff because he knows that you can take it. He knows you're tough enough for it. And he knows that this is only going to be able to provide for you to do something even bigger. So just keep hustling. Because I think we have the option to either take the comfortable route and just say, you know what, screw this. Like, I'm just going to go back to Nebraska. Or I'm going to go back to Maryland and life's going to be great. I'm just going to do what everyone else did. Or just frickin' hunker down and mash the gas pedal and push even harder. But, yeah, God has a
It's a
plan.
good one. I didn't know which one I was going to do today, but y'all's kind of led me to an old favorite
Oh.
of mine.
Throwing it back to 2012.
Yeah. Yeah. James 1-2, I always used to put it on my, anytime I'd play sports, I'd put a piece of tape with James 1-2 on my shoe. So if I ever put my head down, that's what I would see. And it says, consider pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature, complete, and not lacking anything.
These are all
Like
very
that.
much in the same realm.
I know. That's what it made me
That's
think of.
good.
You know what your tape analogy made me think of?
What?
I have a little piece of tape with a message, like a little motto that I tell myself, so I see it every time I get in my truck. And I put it right over the check engine light, so now there's nothing wrong with my truck.
Oh, my gosh.
Brilliant. And then at night, when I can't see that little piece of tape, the check engine light illuminates it so that I can see it. Brilliant, man.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Well, anything else, Emma?
Yeah, I was just looking at it. This was the verse. I have a verse also on my steering wheel, and it says, "Commit to the Lord, and your plans will succeed." But I spelled commit wrong,
Oh,
so I had to
very
put,
committed to spelling.
so I had to put a little arrow and add my M. It's pretty embarrassing, but I can't take it off because it's good, and I don't want to redo it. But
Yeah, that's uncommitted if you take it off.
I know, so I have to leave it.
Well, anything else on the pod?
This is your last time on the Registered Ranching podcast.
Could be.
I know.
Who is calling me?
What's next?
Oh, yeah, I have a job.
That's
I
right.
do. Definitely. Yeah. Woo! Yay! I was worried about that for a hot minute. I'll be vulnerable here for a second. Definitely cried to my mom and said that I might just have to apply for McDonald's because they pay pretty good per hour.
Buc-ee's
hate.
does too.
Yeah, no hate. No hate. I'm
great.
just being realistic here. Because your girl got to have a job to pay for her pony. So, and Steve. Can't forget about Steve. So, yeah, I ended up, this is actually kind of a cool story, but I had done a lot of virtual interviews with companies, and I would get to the last stage, and we just weren't compatible, or I was still in the process at this point with other companies. Like, they had like 3 or 4 or 5 rounds of virtual interviews, and I just really don't like Zoom interviews. I think it's uncomfortable. You can't go up and shake their hand, and there's just a lot of personality that's not in there. And I done a lot of research projects with LNC back at A&M, and then we feed LNC here, and I'd always really liked the people. And I was trying to go more pharmaceutical route, which I don't really know why I was, but that's, what I thought instead of what God wanted. But once again, I tried to carve my own path, and I'd applied back in November for a job opening that came up in Gonzales, Texas for LNC. Even though I knew I was staying through May, Donald and I had talked, and we were like, you just apply, and then we'll see, when they want you. So I applied. They gave me a phone call in December, and I said, I'm really interested, but the timeline probably won't line up. And they're like, yeah, we need someone right now, so this isn't going to work out. I was like, well, not my time, not my opportunity. So I moved on. And then I actually got a phone call in end of March, and it was their recruiter, and they said, hey, we were still wondering if you were interested in a sales position at Livestock Nutrition Center. And I was like, yeah. And they said, okay, awesome. We already kind of talked about you on the phone, and we know about you and your references. And I hadn't even given them any references. Apparently they just had found people that knew me and that knew of me and talked to them. And they said, we would really like to see you down in Gonzales. And I was like, in person? In real life? And they said, yeah. So if you have a time that you could go out and drive down there, we would love to, fund your trip down there. So that was my first in-person interview that I had done, probably out of 12 interviews that I had been through, which it's kind of crazy how that works, but I had mad respect for their company before that, and then extra respect afterwards for, wanting to connect with me in person. And I loved the people, and they really saw me for who I was, and I felt that we had the same goals, and, they really want to serve, and, I really feel called to serve in my life, whether that's through the ag industry or just, as a disciple. And it was like, I don't really want to live in Gonzales, but, I don't know if I can pass up these people. And so I prayed about it, and then a week later I got a phone call, and they said, we know you have some friends still in Bryan, and we know that Gonzales is really far away for you to show your horse in Fort Worth, and what if we moved you to Cameron? I was like, you would do that, And they're so considerate of what I wanted to and making it work for me. And a week later, I had signed a job offer, and I am moving back to Bryan and working out of Cameron.
Dang.
LNC. So I'm honestly really, really excited.
As you should be.
So great people.
Cameron's a bustling town too.
Really?
I was pretty concussed when I drove through it, but it seemed
Really?
It seemed
Bigger
very
than Throckmorton, probably.
I don't
Yeah, it
think
is.
it is.
But there's no OCs.
No OCs.
No OCs. I don't think they even had a gas station. I'm trying to remember now.
Yeah.
It was also dark, to my defense.
And you had a concussion, so
Well, congratulations.
thank you. I'm very excited.
Congrats on owning the 3-time most interned
Will it
intern
ever be beat?
ever,
Will it ever be beat?
besides me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We're basically the same. No.
Is that right?
2 influencers in the wild.
Just 2 influencers.
2 ranching influencers.
Emma, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for being on the pod, but cool to have you 3 times in a row as an intern.
Thank you for having me. I was excited to finally be a part of it.
Come on. Took you 3 years to get there, but you made it. Oh, man. Hey, if you haven't given the show a 5-star review, go do that right now. I know Emma hasn't, and she's going to do that right after the show.
Yep, I have my phone pulled out right now.
That's what I thought.
5 stars. Nothing less.
Until next time, folks. Anything else, Willie?
I ain't got nothing. Send your applications to us.
Oh, yeah. If you're looking for an editing job, looking for work for Registered Ranching, DM us. Go to registeredranching.com, get you some merch.
Yeah, while you're at it.
All the things. Thanks for listening to the Registered Ranching podcast. Gosh, we love you, but don't forget.
Never forget.
Y'all stay classy.
Ranch on them.
And ranch on them. We love you. God bless. 5 stars, Emma. No 4 stars. 5 stars. Finally made the podcast. I still have my headphones in. I can't hear you.
Hey, I'm glad you told me.